hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're firing me, firing me. Yeah, you're firing me, firing me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized.
Hello, and welcome to On a Ramble. I am your host today, Auntie Collins, with my dear friend, and welcome back to the show.
I'm the first guest to do it with both you, just Kyle, and now just Auntie.
Oh my gosh!
Well, you've only missed one show, so it makes it easier to be the only person because you've only missed one show. Unlike Kyle, who's missed a handful.
I mean, Kyle's kind of been like the phantom, host. If he's watching, I love you so much, and we miss you. You're doing dad things today, so everyone, go wish Kyle a wonderful Thursday. If this is your first time, hi, hello, welcome to the show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get up to 500, right? 500 followers. Right? And subscriber, all the things. Subscribe to the channel. Get us up there. You know you want to. You know why? Because you love supporting people passionate about what they're talking about, like Ring of Honor. Although it is very difficult to be passionate about this episode. Hello. Wait, I'm mom now? I'm mom? Ed is mom?
I don't know. Kyle is here.
Oh no, let me stop talking shit. Crap. I'm Wait, is Ed muted?
I'm good. I did make a lot of jokes about this in the Discord. It's not as bad as the jokes I made it out to be.
Well, if anybody wants to know, buy my makeup. Yes, I have already cried multiple times today, and one of them was because of Ring of Honor.
I'm interested to see what that was.
You'll see. I just get so excited about all of my friends because I got to see my friends today in action on this episode of Ring of Honor.
You did. I got to see one of your friends in action on Tuesday night when Ethan Page showed up in the NXT CWC.
My love for Ethan Page knows no bounds. So him and his tight tits. So he's got the tightest tits.
He does have some tight tits. He does indeed.
All right. Well, this is a lively live stream, a lively chat going on. Let us know where you're coming in from. If you are the replay crew, tell us what you're drinking, what you're excited for this summer. Ed, is it summertime out there for you? Are you enjoying the weather yet?
It's definitely summertime out here. We got the air conditioners in. The air conditioners are going. It's currently nice and chilled today, but that's only because we had rain.
Oh my gosh. It's been a very Seattle spring where it started off nice, sunny, 70 degrees. We were like, yes, this is like, the pre JIZZ. It's spring. It's fake spring, right? It got you so excited for real spring, and all we've had is we were supposed to get like April showers bring May flowers. Well, it's been like May showers will hopefully bring June flowers. So
bring June clouds with more
yeah.
rain. Now it's rain and the back and forth sun.
Yeah, well, as I let you know, I know that the chat knows that I'm on the Pacific Coast time. Our sun is not going to set for a whole hour. I'm hoping that we're not here for a whole 2.5 hours like we have been in the past, because
I don't feel like we're going to be, but I really hope not too, because oh boy, 1 a.m.
What an episode that you were the guest for. So
you know what? I knew almost everybody on this episode.
Well, we didn't have
a few people, but I did know almost all of the talent on this episode.
Well, we almost had all of our champions, except we only really had one champion. Well, two champions, if you consider both the women champions being visible during this episode. But it was
released in action.
Yeah, in action.
They were in as much action as Billy and Athena were.
That's true. However, if you're looking for an episode where you're seeing hard-hitting matches, you're seeing your champions get the win, this episode really is not for you. This is here is a showcase of some of our talent that we on a future date would like to feature on a pay-per-view. That's kind of what this episode was. And if you like that, great. If you don't, I'm so sorry. There's maybe one or two matches that you can a la carte out of here, but are you ready to just jump right into it?
Let's go right into it.
Okay, before we start though, I asked last week what your favorite summer snack is, and I need to know what your favorite summer snack is. And if you were here in the chat or you were not here in the chat, go ahead, tell us your favorite summer snack, because I don't know, sharing is caring. So
I'm going to stick with my answer from last week. Watermelon. Nice,
watermelon.
Juicy, refreshing watermelon. You get to spit the seeds, because you get that fun action of spitting the seeds out. Like when you were a kid and you take the sunflower seeds just to spit them out.
So you like
go over your shoulder.
Do you like your watermelon like room temperature or like ice cold?
Ice cold, right out of the fridge.
Ooh.
Out of the fridge. Warm watermelon is no good.
Do you do slices, like the triangle slices, or do you cut it up cube style?
It depends. Sometimes we cut it up and we do rings. Sometimes we cut it up into like quarters and then just like they pull it all out of the things. We just have a bag full of just watermelon.
Yeah.
No rind at all. Some people eat the rind, these crazy people.
Okay. No. Those people need therapy and intensive like a lobotomy. I don't know.
Seedless watermelon. I like seedless watermelon. I typically get seedless watermelon. It typically has seeds, and I'm typically nonplussed when it does.
Seedless watermelon. Oh, wait, that's in a nothing from the ground is good enough. That's Gavin DeGraw.
It is.
That's great.
Gavin DeGraw's most famous piece to claim is the One Tree Hill theme. For me, it'll always be the One Tree Hill.
I don't want to be anything other than what I don't want us to get,
Kyle,
dinged over here.
I had to educate Auntie on Munchos last week.
Listen, I still haven't seen them, so I don't think they exist. Y'all don't have Tim's Cascade chips.
We don't. We do not have.
Tim's Cascade chips. If you like a thick chip, like any good American or Canadian should, do you know how chips were made? It was because someone was making like scalloped potatoes, and someone said, "Oh, these potatoes are cut too thick." And so the chef was like, "Fine, you think that my chips or my potatoes are cut too thick?" So he precisely cut them so thin and put them in the oil that they started to crisp. And that is how chips were made. So chips were made because someone was being vindictive.
Shocker! Shocker! Someone complained about something and created something delightful. Colin shared this with me during Double or Nothing. I was delighted.
It was great. It was a great show. But
I made my Utz. I'm surprised I don't have them on this coast. We have Utz here, so I'm surprised I don't see these. I'll have to keep an eye on them.
I'll have to bring you some Tim's jalapeno chips.
Yes, obviously the jalapeno chips.
Whew. All right.
Speaking of spicy, Viva Van.
Speaking of spicy, we jumped right into this Ring of Honor episode. They ran down the card. No vignette, no cold open, no nothing. Just, hey, we're going to run down the card. Happy wrestling. And we jump right into the ROH Women's World Champion Athena versus local legend Viva Van in a proving ground match. What are we proving?
The proving grounds thing.
What are we proving? So for those who don't know, a proving ground match is where your opponent has to last at least 10 minutes or pin the champion in order to secure a future title shot. So Ed, we're starting with this match. So what was your opinion of this match?
I love Viva Van. Viva Van is great. I was introduced to her by Bobby and Papa Smokes, who were on just before us. I joined them for retro wrestling review, and they reviewed one of the West Coast California shows that she was on, where she defeated Razor Pop.
Oh,
yeah, or Razor Pop defeated her. I forget which way it went, but I remember seeing Viva Van there, and I've been following her ever since. Her journey to New Japan, being in the dojo, her popping up here in AEW and Ring of Honor, hoping that she would have beat Abaddon when she didn't. Sad.
Yeah.
Watching her here, trying her best to find any opportunity to make Athena not look. I love Athena. Athena. Athena's great. Athena was boring tonight.
You thought she was
boring tonight. Attitude. She had very little Athena carry. She's 530 days into this reign, and she needs something fun to do. And this was not it.
This was not. This was like playing with your food. I don't know. I would agree. The whole point of this, we all know, is to showcase Athena to be far more confident, far more strong, is blowing through opponents piece by piece. And I don't personally think that this is necessary. I think that those 500 plus days as a reigning champion is enough to prove that, okay, she needs like worthy opponents like Shida, like Nyla, like Queen Aminata. Hopefully, TK, if you're listening.
They seem to be going that direction based on commentary tonight.
We seem to be getting there. I did notice that Athena was very confident throughout this match, taunting, teasing like she usually is. The match did start with a test of strength, which was kind of condescending to Viva Van.
She literally said, "You won't do it.
You won't do it. Let's."
Viva's like, "I'm bigger than you. Sure, I will."
Sure. And I mean, if you've been following Viva Van, she is always willing to take the challenge. She's always willing to throw her hat in the metaphorical ring, so to speak. And I do believe that she did hold her own through the time of this match. There was a couple moments going in and out of the ring, but it was short-lived. And it was kind of a weird way to start your show. Athena did try to put Viva Van away really quick with a really big boot to the face. And as the clock was ticking and ticking away, it was kind of like, okay, are you going to let somebody beat the clock here because Athena is being a little bit too cocky, or are we just being...
Yeah, it's too long for a squash match, and it's not long enough, and it's not enough of an enhancement on Viva Van to be an enhancement match. So It does no good for anybody. Because it just puts Athena out there being Athena, which is fine, but in this match it felt boring, because if you're going to do this, you need Queen Aminata on the outside taunting her.
Right.
Back.
You need
there needs to be some kind of backplay. Poor Viva just has to sit there and take this crap.
Right.
And for 6.5 minutes, it felt like Athena just plays with her food.
Right.
And then finally beats her.
It definitely would have been enhanced by Queen Aminata being there. Commentary lending a hand to the absence, but not necessarily drilling that down of, oh, well, maybe she's lurking in the shadows, or maybe she's doing this, or maybe she's doing this. There really wasn't much there to pick apart. Eventually, Athena did get tired of toying with Vita and just beat her down for the 1, 2, 3.
Thankfully, it was over.
Yeah, thankfully it was over. It was such a weird match to start. It was very, okay, we get it. Okay, we get it. Okay.
Could we not get it. The triple threat? This whole show is backloaded, where it's like the first half of this show is literally nothing, and then there's 3 matches. Boom, boom, boom. They're all like, these are great. Where were these the rest of the card peppered in to make the show feel like it had some fucking life? Listen,
Ed, you're reading out of my notes over here. Come on. Are you reading my Google Doc?
Just wait. I have a nice little section here on the next match. So these are my boys.
Well, let's just jump right into it. We have our ROH World Tag Team Champions, the Undisputed Kingdom of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, versus the very interesting Nick Comoroto and Jacoby Watts in another proving ground match. Yay!
It's a 2-on-1 proving ground match. And it was 2-on-1 the wrong way.
The wrong way. It's just back to back having a proving ground match. It's like watching, a kids program. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, again. Let's watch Finding Nemo again. You're like, okay, am I really watching this, or am I watching the previous match? Because the psychology was very similar.
The real PG era, the proving ground era.
I know that in order for, if I were to book this myself, I would have taken one of these proving ground matches and would have said, okay, have them do something psychological and then they beat the clock or something, or other people interfere and look, all of a sudden we have real competition, because I'm not really sure who they're stacking up for the ROH World Tag Team Champions other than what I thought was going to be the infantry, but we'll see them a little bit later.
They seem to have a lot of teams, according to Ian Riccaboni, ready to go for the tag team titles. We do have Kyle jumping in. Watson Comoroto tag team once before in March. They lost. And that was brought up, thankfully, on commentary. And like I said, I have some notes. If you don't mind me.
Please read your notes.
I have first, Nick Comoroto almost looks as hairy as Big Damo. They're both burly, hairy men. Those are the only adjectives I could get to get Nick Comoroto. Just this big, hairy man like Big Damo.
Yeah.
Nick might be a real star if he wasn't tied to an anchor that is Jacoby Watts.
Okay.
And this feels like a really bad version of Chad Gable and Otis.
That is in my notes.
Those are my entire notes for this match. The Kingdom are Massachusetts born and bred. I have watched these guys wrestle for years. I've seen them in person. I've met them. Maria's almost killed me. I love these two gentlemen. But I couldn't have cared less for the Kingdom in this match. Because they made the entire thing about Nick Comoroto being, by the way, doing great work. Love Nick Comoroto.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and Mike did nothing wrong. They did exactly what they needed to do. They sold for the big man. They made him look like $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And he was getting excited for his things. And of course, Taven was being the douchebag Taven that he is. And he knocked down him again and then do the same things. Was fantastic. But every time he went to tag his tag team partner, his partner's like, no, you've got this. Is Jacoby not okay, so this is where the outsider is he actually a wrestler, or is he just one of these, like, we need a body, he's got an idea for like a managerial gimmick, let's put him in a tag team?
Well, that's the thing. If it's for storyline, I get it. Like, I'm actually very into this. The Jacoby Watts character being that televangelist is very relatable to my own life because, religious trauma, right? So it is very relatable, right? Everyone can relate to somebody wanting them to do the dirty work, so to speak, and it not turning out the way that they want it to. So we see them time and time again, not getting the win. I will tell you right now, Nick Comoroto in singles action did win on June 4th of last year versus Damos.
But I feel like he's got there's something there.
There's something there. Exactly.
He's got personality. His moveset's not bad. The people seem to like him. Like, there's something there that they can make a star out of.
Right.
And they're not. Like, I don't know if they're trying to, maybe, but God, I don't like this Watts character. And I'm not supposed to, so that's perfect.
Right, you're not supposed to like him. So,
but I feel like if you had, even Rick Ian said it on commentary, you have an opportunity to potentially get a tag team title match. You might want to try to participate in the match.
Sometimes you think about it, if I can relate it to something that is related to church and religion, is sometimes you are brought to it so your religious figure can pull you through it, right? Sometimes we are in trials and tribulations to show that is where we shouldn't be. I don't personally agree with that kind of philosophy. However, I see this as Nick Comoroto time and time again getting to these moments, being defeated, and Jacoby Watts trying to capitalize that and be like, look, you can't do this alone. You need me. See how much of a piece of garbage you are by yourself. Because that's how I kind of see religion in my own regard of, you're not good on your own. You can't do anything. You need somebody else to survive. The only way for you to be good in this world is if you follow me. That's kind of how religion can be. So it could be psychological. It could start this storyline, but I need it to go from second gear to put it into fourth gear. Put some punch into it. Give it a little bit of caffeine. Whatever you do to get this caboose, get it rolling. I don't know, caboose, train. What am I saying? I don't know. Just get it going. We want it to leave the station. We just keep, dancing around. Oh, okay. Well, Nick Comoroto has been feeling timid and not himself and unsure of himself for a guy of that size, and he's not unattractive. It is foreign to me that he is so, I don't know, timid. Like, what is worse than timid? What is the more extreme version of timid? It's like he's collapsed inside himself and he feels like something else has to make him whole. But how did he get there? How did he crumble down so far? And how are you going to get the F out of there? He has to get out of this. So we need the next momentum
where Jacoby helps him win. Like, that would be in my theory, he should be racking up wins with Jacoby's help.
Absolutely.
Cheating on the outside, or Jacoby can be a shit heel who only goes in when they have a major advantage, then scrambles to the side and tags out. That's fine.
Right.
But, they need to give them some wins to make this whole thing go somewhere, because it's all right, I was losing before I had you on my side. Now I have you and I'm still losing. You've done nothing different. I can go lose on my own in the singles division, at least, where I'm a star.
Right. I'm not quite sure where we go. Nick Comoroto being this big guy in the ring, you would think, because he's bigger than Mike Bennett, he's bigger than Matt Taven, that he would be capitalizing on the physical aspect, and it's just falling short. I do enjoy that we're seeing this tag team champions again. However, this is another proving ground match. This is just another piece of our puzzle of telling a story in such a ass backwards way. I want to get out of here. Dad, get me out of here. I want to leave. Take me home. And it's only the second match in.
Yeah. Kyle says, I think I said this in the GC. Feeding them to the champs immediately accomplishes nothing and helps no one. No idea why they thought this was a good idea.
Right.
And they have so many other tag teams doing things later on.
And I know that we want to see our champions on our show. And I'm not trying to say, give me someone else. I don't want to see the champs. The champs could take other people who are at their caliber to prove their ground. This is not the way. This is not the way that you further the storyline, because this just feels a little bit like a joke. And like you said, we already have seen this storyline currently playing out with the Otis and Chad Gable character. However, that has far more depth and far more, I don't know, emotion. Legitimacy. It seems believable.
You feel something. When he was about to get with, they spent 10.5 minutes, essentially. It felt like 10.5 minutes on that whipping scene. With, but you know what? You felt something. It didn't feel like, oh my God, this is just another thing. No. It felt important. And it's a tried and true storyline of, you're garbage. You're not worthy to be part of my team. I'm going to whip you into shape, literally whip you. But you had Maxine standing up to Gable. And you had Sami Zayn coming out there and trying to talk sense into Otis. And it's such good stuff. And I'm like, Nick Comoroto needs to be like this unleashed monster with Jacoby by his side, channeling him into this unraged monster. Jeez. Or he needs to be this timid guy who wins by cheating, by not knowing his partner's cheating. You have a Bible in your hand, Jacoby.
Yeah. Beat someone with it. Come on. Those are called Bible thumpers.
We literally have a tag team doing that gimmick. Well, they were a tag team. They're now a singles. but they just broke that tag team up called God's Greatest Creations, where they had a guy walking around with the Bible, and the Bible was a weapon they used.
Well,
and I'm like, that's the way you do something like this. You make them an uber heel because we want to boo that person,
yeah,
and we want to cheer Nick, so we need to make Nick an unwitting accomplice to all the cheating.
absolutely.
You said if you would have booked things things you would have done differently. For this match, what I would have done differently, even if I left it in the same spot, I would have swapped out Nick Comoroto and Jacoby Watts for the Workhorsemen.
That's
I know they just
option.
got together. Anthony Henry just came back from his injury. But that match would have been, one, something worth watching. And two, it would have given the Kingdom an opponent who might be able to last 10 minutes, who might be able to beat them. And even if they lose, like they did later on in the main event, spoilers, at least then nothing changes because the Workhorsemen still go out there and do a job to somebody, but at least this they do the job to the champs and they can feel a little bit better about it.
Well, I don't think there's much to say about this. Jacoby Watts never entered the match. He yelled at Comoroto the entire match, manipulating him, and the Undisputed Kingdom took their win. It's an easy win. I don't know.
Oh, they just walked away.
They just okay, bye. This isn't for me. Bye. Like, okay, cool, great. With that said, is there anything else? Anything else to be said?
We have a lot more to talk about throughout the rest of the show.
I feel like we gave it way too much color, way too much attention for what they actually served us. So we jumped right into Serpentico.
Now I have a question. Is this the same Serpentico?
Yeah.
He looks a lot smaller without Luther next to him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a small boy.
He's just a large man in general. But he feels significantly smaller without Luther just standing there next to him. Because I saw him and I'm like, I haven't watched Serpentico in a while. But I remember watching Dark every now and then, seeing him in Serpentico and going, Luther and Serpentico, and going, Serpentico looks like a big kind of guy. And all of a sudden I look and I'm like, it looks like he's got no muscle left. It looks like it's the Mandela effect. Because I went back and looked, they look like they're the same size, but God, he looks so much bigger when he was next to Luther.
I mean,
and then Brady Roberts. Oh, this guy was a piece of work.
It was all in all, yeah, a piece of work. I feel like the entire Serpentico storyline that has been happening with his mask getting stolen and all the things, and Maria still having it, and Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, all the things, and everyone is combined into things, and Serpentico is just losing. And now I'm getting wildly bored with the storyline. However, this was not it. It was like they didn't even want to address what we have seen, and they just kind of moved on. Okay.
There was one mention of that he had a new mask.
One mention that he had a new mask, which it looked very nice.
It'll match Angelico's gear really nice when Angelico's next to him. I
very much enjoy Angelico. Kyle Sparks will Kyle K. Sparks. I'm never calling him Kyle Sparks again. That was weird. Kyle K. Sparks very much loves an Angelico moment. But we did have a solo outing for Serpentico, debuting his new mask. Also debuting this match, as we mentioned, is Brady Roberts. Both competitors, as we mentioned, were same size, so it was fast-paced with a lot of smooth action, in my opinion. really enjoyed seeing these guys work. It was kind of a after the first two matches, and it was kind of nice to see Brady have the upper hand a couple times. It kind of felt like, oh, well, Serpentico has been losing so much. Maybe they're getting this Brady Roberts character over a little bit. Hart family training. Would have never known that. It was very good. Very, very well trained.
That surfboard move while looking for the camera, that was really cool. The like the nonchalant pin while finding the camera to like look down the lens.
Right into the lens.
There's something here with this guy. I don't want to see you. I don't care about you. This is about Serpentico. And it took Serpentico 4 minutes longer than it needed to beat it. But I liked what I saw out of Brady Roberts.
I enjoyed it. I think it was again like a breath of fresh air watching these guys go back and forth. Serpentico did come back. The crowd was very much behind Serpentico, very much into this match. It felt a little revived. I was a little bit about to text the chat and be like, I don't want to do this show, because if the show is just going to keep being matches like the first two, I didn't want anything to do with it. But this was kind of nice, even though it is Serpentico, and we know the purpose of Serpentico most of the time.
Apparently, Brady Roberts worked from Kyle Caseworks. Apparently, Brady Roberts works under the name Brady Malibu. Given the name and his gear, they're missing an opportunity to not have him team with Ed's favorite tag team. He is correct, the Outrunners. I think that'd be fun.
That would be so cool.
If Ryan Nemeth, who is now in TNA apparently, and not apparently in ROH anymore, if he were still there, I think he would have been a perfect pairing, because they're both Hollywood actor kind of guys.
Yeah,
I'm like that would have been something fun to do. Like if you would have kept Ryan Nemeth, you could have had something fun there with these two guys, the Hollywood hunk.
You know, despite the Barbie movie, right, coming out last summer, that was a very 2023-esque thing. Things that are Barbie X whatever brand are still selling out. Barbie is going nowhere. If anything, the market value for one of the most iconic toys in the Barbie universe has only skyrocketed. It is so difficult to find Barbies that are just coming out because everyone's buying them. I'm not saying that the Outrunners are Barbie-esque, but it is in that level of, I don't know, a Malibu Barbie, bright pink, that same je ne sais quoi.
That vice feel.
Yeah, it should be capitalized on, because that's money you're leaving on the table. And Mel Coleman made that fantastic artwork. Why are we not seeing it more? Come on, bright pink. Everyone looks like Barbie. Have it be like the Rosebuds, for goodness sake, and just have a bunch of people looking like freaking Barbie and Kens coming out and just being violent. I mean, hey.
It could work.
Listen. Or else.
He jumps in and says, hello, Auntie Collins and Ed. Ed, you best be on your best behavior, or else. I think I'm doing okay.
I like that that's just casually become our tagline. Like, whatever, or else.
The Outrunners must be so good that we have a Ken wannabe in MLW.
I'm into it. I'm actually really interested in watching MLW for just my own entertainment. Because
you're going to have a great opportunity on Sunday morning. Well, for you, it'll be nice and early. You can even watch. Well, you'll be on the air on the other side.
I'll be on the air on the other show.
But afterwards, you can go back on the YouTube channel and watch the video bro, Bobby Munson himself, as him and Andre C. going to watch Battle Riot 4. Which is going to have a 40-person Battle Riot match. 6. I apologize. It's 6.
VI is 6.
Yeah, VI is 6. I apologize. And they're even having YouTube legend Chris Danger joining them in this match.
Whoa!
Chris Danger is going to be in there to win the Battle Riot, to show these professional wrestlers that it's not a game anymore.
I'm into it. Let's go.
Hates it.
Let's raid the chats. Come on.
But yes, they have a YouTube watch along this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, so definitely go ahead and check that out.
Well, I'll be on an hour before, so you can come say hi to me. And if you don't jump on and go say hi, I'm gonna get you.
She's gonna get you. Definitely don't. In the blow off of Cesar Duran. Yeah, we'll talk about MLW stuff on Sunday with Bobby, because we got an interview with Lexi Nair here.
We do. Well, Marina Shafir, which can I just say, every freaking week I seem to mention Roderick Strong and the infamous picture of Marina Shafir in a wheelchair. And I saw somebody else from one of those engagement farming wrestling websites basically kind of take my previous tweet from last week, jumble up some different wording, crop my screenshot, and repost it. And you know what? No shade to them. They can have it. That's fine. I want everybody to remember that Marina Shafir had a wonderful wedding night.
Couldn't walk the night after.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if she could walk the day before, but I know she couldn't walk the day after.
She can walk now, so I don't know. But we are showcasing Marina Shafir more in ROH. So having her be interviewed by the wonderful Lexi Nair is a very good answer to the question of who is the problem. or else. Well, they discussed Marina Shafir being the problem that no one in Ring of Honor can seem to solve. And that if you don't take care of the problem, it will get worse. And I think that the way that Marina Shafir was talking to Lexi Nair, the way that she was saying it is like she knew that like Lexi Nair has let a problem fester just a little bit too long, because we all know the storyline going on with Athena and Billy Starks and herself. But what did you think of this little interview segment?
I thought it was funny. Lexi Nair asks her, she's like, "Oh, you requested this time to chat. What would you like to talk about?" Mm-hmm. And Marina Shafir ignores all of this preamble and looks at her and goes, "Ask me why I'm a problem.
Ask me why I'm a problem."
Like, no, hi, Lexi. Do you know why I'm not? No. She just. Oh my God! For somebody who's Roderick Strong, who can cut an amazing promo. Mm-hmm. Man, like, he's not the greatest promo man, but he's really good. You can tell she's not paid attention to a damn thing he's ever had to say. Because this entire promo, her face doesn't change. Like, at one point she takes off the glasses, but I don't think her eyes moved. Like, she cuts it's a good promo, but it's cut in such a, well, when there's a problem and you don't tend to it, and problem. My God, she said problem 5 or like 10 times in a 1
We get it.
Promo. Yes,
She's
we
the
get
problem.
it. Problem. Good. You've learned that much. You know what your character's name is. Tell me what you're going to do about it. Like, why do you have to ask Lexi to do this job? She just also talk about
the new Defy Women's Champion. Thank you so much, Kyle K. Sparks, for saying it again, because she is the new Defy Women's Champion.
She's ultra talented. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Marina Shafir. Mm-hmm. I think if you don't let her talk, she's great. There's a reason why there were 3 women in that group at NXT, and only 2 of them ever spoke on a microphone. There's a reason why Jessamine Duke and Shayna Baszler talked a whole hell of a lot, and Marina didn't talk almost at all.
What were those shirts that they wore? Oh my gosh. Her and Jessamine Duke war. Oh no.
Bobby's right. She does own the Ring of Blood. But like I said, she's great. She's not bad. She's a very good professional wrestler. She's a very good fighter. She's earned every ounce of respect she gets. It just, let's play and let's fight. Yeah.
Yes. I don't think I ever saw anybody with those shirts.
Nope.
But I wanted one.
You can probably still get one. You can probably on real clearance at www.com. And if you go there and you do that, make sure you use Astrid's link. Don't have here. Go to her Twitter. You can find her link to go
Let's play. Let's fight. I love it.
Like I said, I like it. The promo's fine. Like it's fine because the message of the promo's good. It's just she needs.
Who would you have Marina being the problem for? Athena or Billy?
Right now, neither. Like, just have her be a problem for everybody.
Okay.
You have Red Velvet out there. You have plenty of faces out there. Just have her causing problems for people, whether they be heel, whether they be faces. She doesn't necessarily need to be on one side or the other. I think she can, just be a badass. And I hate to compare her to this because I saw your tweet earlier about this person. But she needs an ounce of Ronda Rousey's charisma. And I know Ronda doesn't have a lot. But the one thing Ronda could do is make you pay attention to the things she says and the things she does. Mostly to ridicule her because she's not good at either the things she says or the things she does. But you paid attention when she was on the TV screen. And I just feel like Marina needs that stage presence. Because that's the only thing that she's lacking.
That's fair.
Trust me, I don't want anybody to be like Ronda Rousey. But there's very few things in this world that Ronda Rousey's done right. One of them is she has a presence. People listen when she talks. Again, mostly to ridicule.
I wish she wouldn't talk.
We all wish she wouldn't. And again, that has nothing to do with the woman. It just has to do with her being Ronda Rousey.
Well, with that said, we roll right into the next match.
Chris Day also says that she could feud with Fox TV star Lady Frost.
Chris, I feel like you're going to memorize Lady Frost's entire cage match before anybody else. And you know what? I would give you $25 if you can recite for me every Lady Frost match ever in order.
I know she was on The Masked Wrestler in season 1. I know that. I was watching
that was such a good moment during the pandemic. The Masked Wrestler. Anyways, Red Velvet versus Kel, which is actually Rebel Kel, but I don't know why we're just calling her.
She's just Kel. Ring of Honor's made her Kel. She can no longer go by Rebel Kel.
No longer Rebel Kel. No more Rebel, just Kel. Such a big presence here in the Pacific Northwest. As tall as you think she is. Stunning. And I absolutely enjoyed seeing her presence. Hopefully she will be coming back. The crowd obviously was behind her. I'm assuming that this was the Portland crowd or the Vancouver crowd. I'm not quite sure.
They filmed it both because there were some Seattle references early on.
Yeah.
And then there were definitely some references in Vancouver as we get to the later matches on this card. You can tell when they were in Vancouver. They made sure to mention it.
Definitely. But I do think that Red Velvet did have a good amount of people in the crowd that were into her. But the last we saw of Red Velvet, she was calling out Billy Starks. We'll kind of see that paralleled at the end. But here we are seeing Red Velvet proving herself, which is like, she would be a great proving ground match versus Billy, right? I don't know. Makes sense to me. Rebel Kel, if you don't know who she is a former basketball player. She is tall. And when I say tall, I mean 6 foot.
She's taller than me. I
Long
followed her on
legs.
Instagram. As soon as this match was over, I followed her on Instagram. She is impressive.
She's a good follow.
She is impressive in the ring. Ian Riccaboni, he looks they pan the camera over to him, and it's like it's the first time he's ever seen her. He's like, God, she's tall.
Yeah, she's tall. And we all know Red Velvet is teeny tiny small, just a little lady. So we did have a David and Goliath factor here. However, you did notice I mean, maybe I don't really notice Rebel Kel's greenness. The fact that she looks very inexperienced and looks to me almost small inside of this ring. It did seem, compared to Red Velvet, who I think is kind of inexperienced, getting better, but Rebel Kel needs to get those repetitions in because it did seem to be a factor. Red Velvet was able to keep her on her feet, kind of keep the match going. But there were a couple moments in this match that it was like, okay, you can tell that this is an enhancement talent and not a main roster talent. That is no skin on either of their teeth. It is what it is. It is just fact. And I don't want to come off sounding like a hater for anything because I absolutely love Kel. I love Rebel Kel. Seeing her in the Pacific Northwest growing. She's only really been in the ring as the pandemic was going on. I really only saw her in a couple matches before the pandemic and then leading into the pandemic. And I know that she is dating a personal trainer. So I know that she does talk a lot about fitness. Fitness is important to her. And you see that in the match because there is a really big boot that kind of, put put Red Velvet on her face. But if you're going to hand Red Velvet some enhancement talent, if you're going to do that, that is fine. But does that mean that Red Velvet is ready for Billie Starkz? I don't know if this is how you prove that. You have a stacked women's roster, for goodness sake. As much as I hate a 4-corner survival match, you have Layla Hirsch. You have Kiera Hogan back there. You have Diamante back there. You have Mercedes Martinez back there. You have all of these experience. Kiera Hogan was supposed to have a title contention, and it just... Where are these women when you're trying to prove yourself as at that level? And I feel like Red Velvet just having an enhancement talent as she's in a feud now with Billie is so insulting to the viewer. It is insulting to Red Velvet to not get that sort of legitimacy that, oh, you have actually earned this feud for the television title. I don't know, I understand the use of these enhancement talents, having them week after week after week, but I just feel like Ring of Honor has become enhancement talents and then 2 bookended actual storyline matches with the roster that you have. It doesn't seem fair. And if I was backstage, I'd be pissed.
I said it in the Discord while I was watching the show. The beginning of this show makes me feel like we're watching late 90s WWE superstars. Where it's you get these main roster talents that and then they're in there with these people that nobody knows other than the people who live in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
And they go in there and they do the job and the matches take 4 to 10 minutes and they're done and over with and nobody looks better coming out of it. The problem with putting Red Velvet in the matches with the women that you mentioned is then Red Velvet looks like Kel.
Exactly.
Because she's not ready. You put her in there with Billie because Billie can carry her because Billie can have a 10, 20-minute wrestling match with a broomstick and make it succeed.
Well, Well, that's also the thing is, they say iron sharpens iron. Iron doesn't sharpen a sponge. It's going to cut the sponge to make the sponge almost ineffective, and the iron is no sharper than it was when you went into it. So I would rather see wrestlers that are maybe on similar playing fields battle it out week after week after week, making each other better. I want to see Red Velvet get better. I want to see these enhancement talents get the thing. How can I have them two coexist and be true at the same time on my show week to week that I am watching, and I'm not being rewarded for watching it? I am simply existing and writing about it and then watching it. And what am I to do? How am I supposed to believe in Red Velvet? I don't know.
One of the things NXT's done really well is NXT has a very young women's division. But what they make sure they do in what Ring of Honor does on a weekly basis, because I watch the show on a weekly basis. Well, I watch you guys. I watch this show. I don't watch that show.
Yeah.
No, I have way more important things to do with my time than watch the hour of Ring of Honor. I
You,
just watch you guys for 2
listen,
hours.
you would watch a Ring of Honor for an hour, or you watch Kyle and I.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to you and Kyle for 2 hours talk about it than watch it. But
See,
what
Kyle, they love us.
the point I was trying to make is the one thing that NXT tries to do is they make sure that they have a few of these veteran good hands on staff at all times to make sure that all of these young women and young talent are going in there and wrestling these women who are better than them.
Yeah.
Leagues above them, who make them look bad at times. Yes. But you want to know what that has paid off for right now? Tiffany Stratton. 2 years in the business. Tiffany Stratton came from being a gymnast. And in 2 years and a procedure has become one of the biggest, most pushed talents on the SmackDown side in WWE. And she's done it in the calendar year. She was in the Rumble in January, and by WrestleMania, she was in a position to not be in the World Championship match, but she was in the Elimination Chamber to potentially have a shot.
Yeah.
She was in matches that were potentially getting her TV championship matches. And they did that in 4 months with her on television in 2 years in NXT. Red Velvet's been in AEW since, I believe, pretty close to its inception.
Yeah.
I feel like she's been here the whole time. She needs to be at par with everybody else. And if she's not going to be, then it might be time to cut bait. Because at some point, you can't Ariya this situation. You can't have a woman on your roster for 10 plus years.
Jeez. I forgot about her.
And I say it on Taking Over when we were talking about Ariya, is people forget when the network launched and they launched Breaking Ground, Ariya was on the Breaking Ground show with Sasha Banks, with Carmella, with Bayley. She was in those episodes as somebody who they didn't have a character for then, when they were in NXT main eventing. And I'm like, you can't have somebody like that on your roster for that long that isn't improving enough to the point where she can be on her own. And Red Velvet got a great look. She looks great. The crowd loves her. But if you're not going to give her the opportunity to show that she can wrestle, let her go on the indie circuit and just be an indie wrestler and wrestle 3 to 4 times a week on the circuit, work those weekends and get better, and then bring her back.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Red Velvet was a pandemic wrestler, debuted on AEW Dark back when Brandy Rhodes was still wrestling and involved in that situation. So it's been 4 years. I know that she was out for a while with injury, but I definitely agree. How are we supposed to get her up to the caliber that it is this TV championship, right? We're trying to make this TV championship prestigious, but it seems like an afterthought. So, but as I mentioned previously, we get red velvet. There are a couple shoulder blocks, couple knees, all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, picking up the pin. Suddenly, Athena's music hits.
That got me real excited.
I was excited. I was like, oh, hell yeah. After all of this shit talking back and forth week after week. And then you get Red Velvet facing the stage, facing in the fighter stance. And all of a sudden behind her is Billie Starkz. And you just see Billie Starkz with her cute little yellow eyeshadow just taking off her jacket and punching her in the freaking face with the title belt, knocking her out. And then she got the hell out of there. What a response to, oh, you're going to flap your gums and talk about me and say all these things about me. I'm going to hit you with the title that you've been talking about.
Mm-hmm. Made Billie feel like a big deal. Didn't do a whole lot for Red Velvet, but you know what? Do the match and move on.
It'll be great. A great build for July.
Ariya was released, but it took way too long.
It took way too long. Way too long.
And like I said, I'm not sitting here asking for people to get released or asking for people to get let go. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Red Velvet needs to be let go before people start lynching me for this one. I'm just saying she either needs to, as the phrase goes, shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Kyle says, I told you last week, defy or deny, 4-way elimination match. If the champ wins, the last one eliminated can no longer challenge them. Otherwise, the winner gets a title shot within 60 days. That would work.
Kyle, stop giving them all your best ideas. Or else.
And Bobby also says, on an unrelated note, this is so unrelated, but I have to say it. I'm making shorts clips right now, and I clipped the moment where Ed said I'm taking over, say his name, and he appears referencing Joe Hendry. And immediately after, YouTube just recommended a Joe Hendry. Well, Bobby, I said his name, and he appeared in your YouTube recommendeds.
That's the best thing. The best thing going on, him and AJ Francis right now.
I mean, him is the best thing going on. AJ Francis.
I love AJ Francis.
Oh,
you watch yourself.
Flop dollar ain't nothing.
Top dollar is my kid. Okay, I birthed him.
No to AJ. The algorithm is listening.
I birthed him.
That's fine. No, I think AJ Francis took opportunity of working with the AEW World Champion and made a lot of money out of convincing people that he was an important portion of that group. Blocked. Best choke slam in the business. What are you talking about? Wait, excuse me? We have Dijak and Damian Priest in WWE, who both
I'm not listening.
And they sit down. And by the way, both of them can get over the top rope.
Blocked.
All right. We need to move on from Flop Dollar because he wasn't on the show. Speaking of people who I don't think belong on the show, the
Zach Knight
himself. Zach Knight, the nemesis himself.
Or they just had, so they're obviously not using the Outcast music. They have this different entrance music, but they have the Outcast banner. So I guess he's part of the Outcast. This is also like the second week where I've been like, is he part of the Outcast? I'm so confused. And then he just looks like a golf caddy over here. I don't get it. It is not for me personally. I do enjoy though seeing another member of the Knight family, because if there's any family that seems like a nightmare, the Osbournes and the Knight family. Mm-hmm. They both happen to be English. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't plan that. But I do enjoy seeing his name in lights, his wrestling being showcased. He is rather boring to me in this match.
I also really, really appreciate Ian Riccaboni trying to say nice things about him when they when Ian Riccaboni called him, what was the word that Ian used? I mentioned it to Bobby and Ashton in a chat. Yeah, he kept telling him huge.
Yeah, he's not exactly
huge and intense, and I was like, well, how big is Zach then? Because he doesn't look that big to me when I'm looking at him. He's 6'1", 192.
And compared to Sebastian Wolf,
yeah,
Seb Wolf was also one of my pals. Shout out to Seb, love him. Represents the Native American heritage around these parts. Absolutely love seeing him get his comeuppance here. I know that he's so appreciative, and he's one of the most wonderful people that you will ever meet. Always loves meeting people and talking about things that aren't even wrestling at shows. He'll just start talking about Stranger Things, or start talking about other shows, or ask you about your day and tell you that your shirt's nice. Like, just a wonderful gem of a human. And
he had to wait forever, by the way, for fucking Zach to take off all his bullshit.
All of the things. I was like, okay.
He's doing it as slow as possible. It's like one item off.
This is not Magic
one
Mike.
He's got like 7 layers on to get down his fucking ring gear. I'm like, dude, come on.
The crowd definitely was really pissed at it.
It felt like the match took shorter time for Zach to get ready for the match.
Yeah. But
yeah, and Kyle says he took Naito level of time to get off all his inches gear. He doesn't have a fraction of the charisma or the presence of Naito to judge it. Naito, he was the first ever Japanese star that got me to go to one of those like New Japan Ring of Honor shows. And I adore it. It was also the first night that I got to see Sonata with his hair down when he was still doing the hair up gimmick. It was great. But God, this match took way more time than it needed to, but also didn't take as much time as it took him to get undressed for it. So it was just, it's a battle of wills here, because it's like, I was glad when they finally got to the match, and then the match was so short. I'm like, well, I guess that kind of makes sense, but Jesus Christ, did he have to take 10 minutes to get undressed?
It is unnecessary, and it's meant to be. We get what it means. We get that he's trying to be, I'm better than you. It's like the less efficient way of what Hook is doing. You know what I mean? Where he doesn't even face his opponents. There was a really...
Isn't there a guy in this company that already does I'm better than you and I know it?
That's the kind of thing is there...
And he's really good at... And by the way, the other guy who does that is kind of really good at what he does.
Really good. There's also another thing that another person in this crew does really much better, is that we get another knockout punch. And you know who does one better? Anthony Ogogo, who does everything better, talks better, looks better. What?
For some godforsaken reason, he lost to Cody.
We're not talking about something from 2 years ago. Come on. No. One of the most it's pissed me off all over again. But
I'm locked again.
But that's the thing. What do we know about Zach Knight? Zach Zodiac. What do we know about him? He's Saraya's brother. Mm-hmm. What else do we know about him? He takes too long getting his gear off in the ring to be really mean. And
he's
put
intense.
It over on. But
he's intense, as Ian kept saying.
Okay, so there's already somebody who does that better on your roster. His finishing move seems to be a knockout punch, which somebody else on the roster also does that a lot better and looks better. This match also seemed a little bit more, in my opinion, like a parking lot reality show squabble, where like if you've seen reality show contestants fight, it's like, I don't know what I'm watching. I just know that there's a cloud and like exclamation question mark, whatever. Thank you so much, Kyle K. Sparks. Also Shane Taylor, which,
by the way, yes, I would much prefer watching Shane Taylor than the nepotism hire himself.
So I feel like they need to go back to the drawing board a little bit with this. They gotta. I know that they were doing something with him being backstage and in those interviews, being intense and just. Okay, cool, you're doing that, but I don't feel the personality that I feel with other wrestlers who do things better. I don't want to write him off completely yet because we've only seen him a couple times, but it's getting to the point where I'm like, okay,
he's been on the British indie scene for this many years. There's got to be talent there. He's part of that. Genetically, there has to be talent there between his mother, between his father, between Saraya. Like, there just has to be fucking some kind of talent there.
In that kind of family, imagine just being the least charismatic out of the bunch.
I thought that was his other brother. Isn't that his other brother, the one who just chose not to be in the business?
He just chose not to be in the wrestling industry. I don't know. It would just suck to be that. And
I couldn't imagine being the worst one in the family. Which is why Saraya had to get him the job, which again goes back to nepotism. Like, I feel like they did this to pacify who seems a little unhappy on Twitter, by the way.
Just a little.
She also didn't seem very happy. Like, she pretended to be happy in that action figure commercial with Daniel Garcia. But I don't know how.
Are they going to dance? Nope.
She did not dance with Daniel Garcia, which, by the way, is a shame because that's the only time I want to see Daniel Garcia dance, when he's not on television wrestling. Because
I want to see him dance anywhere.
I love. There are two things. I love Daniel Garcia, but I hate dancing Daniel Garcia.
No, give me leather pants, dancing Daniel Garcia in my dreams. I'm into it. All right.
I can see that. I'm not the target demographic for dancing Daniel Garcia. I'll admit. I am definitely not the target demo for that.
So these Jazzware figures, are you going to get them? Did that make you want to get them?
Look fucking awful. I haven't bought a wrestling figure in 20 years because they're all big, massive, bulky. Like, there's like a rib cage break on the Daniel Garcia figure.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that, but I do keep mine in the box. So I keep mine.
I am planning on pre-ordering the black and white Toni Storm off Ringside Collectibles, though.
I just want her timeless one to come out.
Yeah, it's Ringside Collectibles. Yeah,
this is who I keep by my desk. He brings me good luck.
Baby.
Baby.
The Dream Master Dancing Danny G. But then we got a good match.
We did have a good match. Now we're getting into, we got over this awkward hump, and now we're going into good matches. We have a three-way match. Action Andretti, which commentary actually mentioned, hey, his first match here was a win over Chris Jericho. They finally acknowledged it. Hallelujah. Aaron Solo and Lee Johnson, who they kept saying that Lee Johnson was the embodiment of an action figure. And I went, him? Out of all these guys in this match, him?
So I have questions about Action Andretti. And again, this is the WWE fan looking from afar. How is it that Action Andretti is still doing work with Top Flight and in Ring of Honor when his first match here, he beat Chris Jericho? Like, I understand Jericho isn't something to brag about anymore, but I'm like, you beat a legend in Chris Jericho. How is he not a top star in this company right now? Like, how? No offense, I liked seeing him in this match. I thought he was great. I think Aaron Solo was the best in this bunch. But then again, like I said, I watched for different reasons, and I thought Aaron Solo, his character work was top-notch. Lee and Action Andretti were much better wrestlers, but I love the work that Aaron Solo was doing in this match. But Action Andretti, the fact that he's with these guys, no offense to the Martin brothers, they're delightful. I think they're great. But the three of them, and again, the Martin brothers are down here because they can't keep themselves healthy long enough to get a push.
Oh, jeez.
Well, haven't they both?
That's Ed's opinion. That is not my opinion.
Sorry,
well,
like I said, I apologize. Like I have
you have your opinion. This is the space that you can make those opinions. I don't have to agree with them. And
I think they're, but by the way, I think they're talented. I think they're great. I just wish they could stay healthy long enough to take the push that they're going
that's fair. It's fair. And, I think that the audience, especially myself, identifies more with Dante because Darius was out for so long. And then he came back and Dante went and broke his freaking foot in that disgusting manner. It's still burned in my brain. In my brain.
The Sid one's burned in mine.
But it seems a little, okay, are they a duo? Are they a trio? What is going on? They've tagged with each other, different versions, iterations of each other. I just need to know what their main goal is because it's just getting a little too convoluted before we've established them, They're
a cool faction, but they're not doing anything. Like, they're not getting championship matches.
Exactly.
Opportunities. So why? But I thought Lee Johnson was fantastic in this match. I thought he did really good stuff. I thought Aaron Solo's character work of constantly making sure anytime he got himself in this match, he was seeing where both guys were at the time. Really smart character work from Aaron Solo. And then Action Andretti is just, he's like Ricochet. He's ultra talented, can do everything you ask of him to do, and he'll do it without an issue. But at the end of the day, for some reason, no matter where he goes, he never seems to get the push he needs.
I do appreciate that Aaron Solo is having a character now. I do appreciate that he is going through this like cheeky, like assholey kind of guy. If I were him, I would have probably done the same thing where he goes, okay, Lee Johnson has had more championship opportunities. I'm going to get him out of this ring and I'm going to try and take on Andretti one-on-one, which does happen. He tried to slow him down because that's what I would do. A fast guy who's constantly flipping and going around. You want to be the Adderall that calms down this ADHD-ridden wrestler. You want to slow things down to your advantage. However, Lee Johnson knew that that was happening and reinserted himself in the match. Each guy knocking each other out. This match was so good. It was exactly what I needed. It was the exact psychology that I've been looking for. I've been wanting Aaron Solo to play that heel role where he's like, I have to take advantage. I have to one up. I have to see this scenario play out, and I have to eliminate who is going to be my bigger opponent. Lee Johnson being the one who's had the championship experience with not championship. He hasn't gotten a championship, but had those opportunities.
Yeah.
Having that experience, like after he faced Kyle Fletcher, I feel like he is a renewed singles wrestler. And just seeing Action Andretti week after week after week, it was great to see these guys in the ring. They were so fast. And sometimes I was just watching, or sometimes the entire match, I was going, oh shit, I need to be writing down. My thing is I'm just watching like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, what are they setting up? Oh my God, I didn't see that. It was great. All these near falls, the momentum shifting. It was so freaking cool. And Action Andretti ate a super kick from Lee Johnson, who then slammed Aaron Solo and got the pin for the win. Lee Johnson is back on that winning streak, and that's where we go from here. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I loved every bit of this match. I put finally a match where it takes more than a few minutes and where the result wasn't an obvious answer from the beginning. I thought Lee Johnson might win this match, but Aaron Solo could have easily won this match. Action Andretti could have easily won this match. I didn't feel like Lee Johnson was the obvious winner. I thought he was the probable winner, but I didn't go into it knowing he's going to win like I did every other match going into this. I thought this was really great. Lee Johnson stood out, but like I said, the character work of Aaron Solo was fantastic. The things that Action Andretti was doing in this match, where it's like Lee Johnson did something, so Action Andretti did something even cooler, even different.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really great. I love this match. I thought it was great. Our friend Kyle K. Sparks in his notes says, I assume Action Andretti is not a bigger star because 1, TK isn't always great about capitalizing on momentum. And 2, while I like him, AEW has roughly a dozen guys that can do everything Action Andretti can do. Which is true. But then why isn't he a bigger star in Ring of Honor? If you can't do it in AEW, which I understand, it's the bigger company, maybe he's not ready for that, then why isn't he, you guys mention it, and I'll put up the graphic. Why isn't he the pure wrestling champion? Considering that godforsaken thing wasn't mentioned again. I got so excited when they mentioned that they were going to talk about the TV title until I realized the TV title was on Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
I was like, they're going to address the pure title. Oh, wait, no, they said TV title. That's Kyle's title. Shit.
They've taken titles off of people, wrestlers who got injured faster than they have for Wheeler Yuta. I feel
Edge
like
just had his title taken away mere days after the match. Fucking idiot still sitting at home collecting championship checks.
wow, what? And here's the thing: I get this has nothing against Wheeler Yuta and having concussions and all these things. This is about the booking. It's about you've lost the audience in knowing what in the F the pure title is. And you're going to bring back a title, a championship eventually that has all these different rules, all these different stipulations, all these different things. And you're going to expect your audience to remember. I mean, the real ones will.
Yeah. The other thing they should be doing is they should be having pure matches every few weeks just to make sure people, like you say, so that people understand what the pure championship is. The match doesn't have to be for the title, but just have a pure wrestling match every 3 weeks.
And
Josh Woods is right there doing nothing.
Where in the F is Josh Woods? I haven't seen him on TV. Is he out with injury?
He's on TV in the next segment.
Josh Woods is not in the next segment. It is only Ariya, Daivari, and Tony Nese.
Yeah, he came out with them in the Idiot Lawyer. Kyle's right. Kyle did book an entire 8-person tournament for the pure title last week on his Twitter, and it took him 15 minutes. It's taken Tony Khan 8 months.
We haven't even acknowledged Wheeler Yuta's absence. He's just gone.
Maybe they're quietly defuncting the title again. I mean, this is a title that's been defunct before. Maybe it's going to be defunct again.
Well,
let's put a smile back on your face and let's talk about the premier athletes.
You mean the Bollywood boys?
Well, I thought we were going to talk about this guy.
The abs? Give me... Is this what you were going to show me?
I told you you'd know it when you saw it.
Beautiful. I'm not crying. You're crying.
So the premier athletes are obviously Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari, and they're great. But I've always heard in the chat while I'm watching the show that Auntie Collins talks about the corn cob abs of Jay White, of Tony Nese. So I decided, since I'm going to be on the show today, I'd make Tony Nese have corn cob abs. So there they are. I didn't know if he was supposed to have 8 or 6, so I gave him 8 because I figured it's Tony Nese. He is a premier athlete. So
all premier athletes have 8 abs.
I mean, the picture I started with didn't really give me a good idea of how many abs. Like, there's abs in here, but I can't quite tell if that's like 6 or 8. You know, they break off at the belly button. So
I wonder, like, if you're laying there and you have that many abs, if you like do a stream of water from your sternum down, does it just sit?
It probably pools and it like goes out like, you know, those little like the water in like the floor in Now You See Me. You know, when the water goes through the floor and it like veers off in different ways. It's like that. I assume that happens with his ab and it just go anywhere.
All right. If I ever get the chance to interview Tony Nese, I'm going to ask him, have you ever just like, I don't know how to make that sound appropriate.
There has to be a Christmas jingle with his corn cob abs and a button nose. Tony, the thick man, was a jolly, happy soul. Cupcake Sparks also says, I propose every time Tony Nese appears on Ring of Honor TV that we Photoshop 2 more abs on Tony's torso as needed. I think Bobby will help with this. I don't have Photoshop, so it will have to be Bobby. I don't have access to that. Canva can only do so much. Like, I can go up, but I can't go down. Like, I can't stretch him, I don't think. I could give him corn cob like pecs, but I think that defeats the purpose of the abs. But I also he was out there with Josh Woods and Dumb Cardona Man, as I call him, or Smart Mark Sterling, as he prefers to be called.
I call him Dumb Cardona Man.
Yeah, he does the podcast with Cardona. He's the third guy on the podcast with Cardona and Myers. I'm not a fan of Cardona, so. Okay. Anybody associated with them is just. Obviously, I don't have Photoshop either, but I know some tricks. Right. This was a good match. The Bollywood boys came out in their Vancouver Canucks jerseys. Everyone was all happy. Smart Mark Sterling made a comment about, you know, the Edmonton series, which dates when this episode happened because they've been playing the Dallas Stars for about a week now.
Yeah.
Well, yes, everybody's smarter than Cardona. I mean,
listen,
he's a lawyer.
I don't want to say that I'm smarter than Matt Cardona because Matt Cardona is making money, like more money than I'm making.
Oh, Matt Cardona is way smarter than I am. I'm not saying I'm smarter than Matt Cardona. I'm saying a lawyer's smarter than Matt Cardona.
We would hope. We would hope.
I mean, he's no Luca Carusafino, but
I don't know how that is, but I'm gonna pretend. What if any?
It's a good match, though. Like, I like the idea that the Bollywood boys wanted to do their dance and the bad guys wouldn't let them. I thought that was a fun little gimmick.
So rude.
It was so rude, but I like the gimmick of it. The bad guys are just like, we're going to ruin everybody's fun. And I knew all the people in this match because I've seen all of them on television before, mostly in WWE when they weren't doing. The really hard part was hearing Harv and Gurv for the Bollywood boys, when I know that that's Sunil and Samir sing.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out what the hell's going on and who these random people are that Ian keeps talking about.
Yeah, that's their name. So they are beloved. They are so wonderful.
I love them. I think they're great.
We were in an elevator one time in a hotel, and we looked over, and I was like, is that them? I don't know if that's them, but I didn't want to say anything and be like, hi, are you the recently released Bollywood boys? And then they got out and I just like, you know, you do the patriotic wave and then they were at Defy that night as a surprise. And it's like, oh, that probably was them. But
and they are good Canadian boys.
They are good Canadian boys. But it really was a fun match. I mean, I always love seeing the Bollywood boys. It is an enhancement match, I know. But the enhancement talent was actually really good.
Yeah.
And how they aren't signed, I'll have no idea. Because they're so over with the fans. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves them. They're great wrestlers. They've got a great thing going.
I understand why WWE doesn't have them. WWE doesn't care. there's not enough of people that do the style that the Bollywood boys do, and WWE doesn't cater to the cruiserweight style to employ them. So I understand why they're not there. It's the same reason why Jinder's not there. And then there's also the other reason, same reason why Jinder's not there, same reason why Sanga's not there, the same reason Veer's not there. Like, there are things that WWE, they for some reason, they can't figure out that demographic. And it seems to always fall down the wayside. And the only one they ever did figure out was Kali, and God, they didn't figure that out. But, like, I don't understand how MLW hasn't picked up the Bollywood boys. I don't understand how Ring of Honor doesn't have them under contract or, as a regular retainer to get them, wherever they want. My thing is that they must love the indie scene too much to be able to be at the beck and call of Ring of Honor when they need them where they are.
Their merch lines are long. And it's because they are one of the few. Here's my thing. I understand that this is a business, right? Indie wrestling is a business. You want to sell as many things. They are one of the talents that I know they market themselves well. Mm-hmm. They have fantastic merch that's not just shirts, mm-hmm. but they also don't take advantage of their fans' kindness and their fans' eagerness to see them. I've seen wrestlers go, that'll be $20 for a selfie or a picture. Give me a freaking break. Give me a freaking break. If I'm going to pay $20, $50, $60 for a picture with you, I want flash photography, bulbs going off, great background. I want 10 minutes of your time. I'm not just going to hand you over $20, $30, $40, $50 just to take a freaking selfie with you. That turns me off. That's why there's a dinosaur guy in wrestling. I think a lot of people know who he is, but it's why I'm no longer a fan of his, because the multiple times that I've seen him, I'm like, oh, can I take I've bought your merch already. I bought a piece of merch. I bought an 8x10. I go, oh, can I get a picture with you next? Pictures are $50. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's ridiculous.
I get it. Yeah. It's your time. It's a business. I get that it's a business, but I know more people who are Effie fans, who are Matt Cardona fans, who are Bollywood Boys fans than they are of people who, they treat it like a business, but they are turning off on their fans. There are ways to make money, yes, in the indies, but come on.
Yeah, my thing is, I always ask the wrestler, hey, if I buy an 8x10, can I get a photo? Because I'm not the size that I can buy a T-shirt to get a photo. Because a lot of the guys are like, oh, you buy because I go to chaotic shows, once a month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, can I buy an 8x10 and just get a selfie? Because I don't want the 8x10, to be honest with you.
Right. I
have a pile of 8x10s in the other room. Because I'm going to get like a background here that I can staple my 8x10.
Yes, do it.
Just to get some use out of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want the selfies. And the other week we had a tag team come in and they won the tag team titles. And so during the intermission, they didn't have any merch out. So I was like, can I get a picture with you? But I know that the indie talents don't make a ton of money and that their bread and butter is on their merch.
Mm-hmm.
Said, yeah, you can take a picture with us. So I was like, do you have any merch that I can buy? They're like, oh, no, we don't have any merch with us tonight. I'm like, all right, here's $10. Can I just take this? And they're like, yeah, of course. Because that's what you do to support the indie talent. You give them some kind of a payment and you get your selfie. It doesn't have to be $50. I'll buy a $10, sticker or a $10, 8x10.
Right.
And just take my quick photo with you, and in 10 seconds, I'll be done. And we can move on, and you can, sell to the next person.
Exactly.
Good match, though. Great match. I like this. It was a whole bunch of fun.
And they eventually did get to dance. They got to dance.
Yeah, but this guy got the big win at the end of the night, so...
Oh my gosh. The pump handle driver. That's what I wrote down. Pump handle driver. And the Premier Athletes did take home the victory. They dragged the Bollywood Boys back into the ring to deliver more and more violence and punishment bestowed upon them. They already won. But guess who comes out to save the day?
It wasn't my Outrunners, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, no Outrunners tonight, but it is the infantry who we talked about earlier. They came to the ring with chairs.
I was surprised
which I was
like, really? Okay.
Oh,
that's aggressive.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's like, let me just bring a knife. Like, oh God. Oh.
Or if you're Darby Allin, bring a flamethrower.
Yeah. Like, oh God. Just bringing a flamethrower over here. All right. But they did chase the Premier Athletes out of the ring. And they stood with the hometown boys, the crowd favorite.
Yeah.
What a great way. As we jump right into a vignette promoting a match for next week. What?
Promotion. Championships.
By golly gee, we got a promotion for a match next week of Dalton Castle versus ROH World TV Champion Kyle Fletcher for next week's show.
For the title,
no proving ground. No proving ground, but an actual match.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a former champion, and he
beat Johnny TV.
That's all the proof
ago,
we
but
need.
He's finally getting the opportunity from beating Johnny TV. I mean, he didn't get the boys back because unlike Anthony Henry, they didn't get rehired.
Did we ever get a resolution to why?
It's a he said, she said. If you believe Tony that they were unreliable and unavailable for shows, and if you believe the Brent twins that they couldn't make the shows because they weren't being given travel the right days, and they told them they didn't have the availabilities, and they were flying them to the wrong airports and all kinds of shit. So
I heard from people backstage of my own accord that they were no showing when they said that they would. So that's on that. But we go right into our main event.
We did.
The Workhorsemen, who I'm so glad that they're back. I'm so glad Anthony Henry is back. Anthony Henry.
I was hoping we'd steal Anthony Henry. I really like him. When he got released, I was praying that Triple H would just do the spiteful hire because everybody was out crying that he get hired back because he was injured. I'm like, come on, Trips.
What are the top selling shirts? Like, come on. But we did get the Workhorsemen versus Top Flight, which we've already talked about.
Kyle K. Sparks does say, I choose to believe neither the Tate twins nor Tony Khan, but rather Johnny TV, that they were in fact eaten by a bear.
Yes. Eaten by a bear, which apparently they released a bunch of grizzlies back into the Cascades, the Cascade Mountains, which are right near me, which means that grizzly bears could happen anytime.
Hopefully you live on a second floor.
I am on the second floor. So I've seen black bears out here. They're harmless. Ow.
They'll get some people below you and you'll be fine.
Good, because they are terrible, the people below us. But this match was a great main event. What a great cap on a very weird episode. And JD Drake and Anthony Henry are in the main event. Hallelujah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love it. Action Andretti, we see him again in different clothes. Obviously, we know this seems like a different day.
Whoops. When I mentioned earlier that we would know what shows these would take that's one of the clues.
That is a different day.
Andretti got different gear.
Very interesting.
Maybe he changed gear backstage.
Just like Taylor Swift, right?
That happened in between.
And just like Taylor Swift. There you go. That's my Taylor Swift, just for Astrid, mentioning Taylor
Bobby,
Swift.
138.
But we had Anthony Henry and Darius Martin kicking off this match. It felt really exciting at the beginning of the match. The presence was felt. The crowd was in it. It felt like a main event.
It felt like a main event should.
Yeah. When JD Drake entered the match, it felt like a big deal. There were some no-selling big chops that were happening. It was very big guy versus little guy. When Dante tagged in, he did like this backflip thing off of the back of JD Drake, which was, it looked like they kind of practiced that backstage, which was, not gonna lie, kind of cool. Like, that's a really cool party trick. But really, really kind of cool that they could do that. Flippy guys against big people is always magic to me because things can happen that I don't think are physically possible. JD Drake did use his size. It was kind of awkward to me because I didn't know if the Workhorsemen were supposed to be the heels here, because they are kind of, we're going to stop at nothing to get what we want. So that's kind of how it felt a little bit. But what did you think of the way that this match played out?
I love Anthony Henry. I love JD Drake. I think these guys are a fantastic team. There's something special. JD Drake is not the greatest professional wrestler. JD Drake is not a great professional wrestler. But JD Drake has this mystique, this greatness in him, where things happen around him that are entertaining and fantastic. And he's this big guy who does basic big guy things, but he can move a little bit. He's not the biggest of guys, so it's kind of right. He can move. But the pairing with Anthony Henry, and especially the pairing with Top Flight here, he's nimble enough to let Top Flight do all their fun, flippy stuff without making it feel like he's helping them do the flippy stuff. I've been watching him since Evolve, when he was the Evolve champion, facing off against people like Austin Theory on the Evolve special on the network. This guy is fantastic and such a great talent. And I think the Workhorsemen should be the next number one contenders, and honestly should take the titles off of the Kingdom. Because I think that they have enough of the crowd behind them that they could be this tweener babyface heel team where the crowd loves them, but they're just like, we're not going to blatantly cheat like they did tonight where JD did the low blow. But like, we'll do whatever it takes to win, and if it means we cheat, so be it. I think they were great. I think, like I said, I would have flipped Top Flight against whoever the Kingdom faced. I forget now who the Kingdom even faced. Oh, Comoroto and the guy who didn't get in the match.
Jacoby Watts.
That's the one. And I would have put the Proving Grounds match here. And I would have had them last the 10 minutes. I wouldn't have had them beat the Kingdom, but I'm fine having Anthony Henry and them last the 10 minutes. And even if they say it's a make good for releasing Anthony Henry, make it part of the storyline, being like, Anthony Henry got hurt, the company had no faith and got rid of him, the fan base brought him back, he's now back, and as a make good, Ring of Honor has decided to grant him a Proving Ground match. Not give him a tag team opportunity, but give him the opportunity to earn an opportunity. But I love these guys. These four guys were great. This main event felt like a main event. It felt like a television main event.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it needed to be.
Absolutely.
It didn't take too long, which is unfortunate. I felt like it could have gone a little longer, but it did what it needed to do, and it got out before we wore out our welcome, and I'm happy.
I'm happy as well. Dante did take advantage of Anthony Henry's surgically repaired jaw, which seems to be that happened last week. It's going to happen this week. And with Anthony Henry and Dante being legal, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Top Flight does get the pin. It was great. And yes, like Kyle K. Sparks just says, we are 7 weeks away from Death Before Dishonor. How could we forget that Daddy Magic beating Mike Bennett last week, 2.0, are likely due for that title. However, However,
Angelo Parker.
Angelo Parker will come back. Will come back soon. After his honeymoon, he's getting his moment with his now pregnant wife. It's so weird. His wife. They're so cute together, but it is shaping up to be a very fantastic tag team division. I want more matches like this. Give me more matches like this main event. Preferably sooner rather than later. But well,
the other thing I would say is that the only other point that I would make about this entire show is that it was very much made clear to them by the powers that be, sell the fucking Texas collisions.
They gotta make them important, man.
And they're staying there for like a month.
I know.
And it's like, sell the collisions. The tickets go on sale on the 4th. Sell the collisions. Not Rampage, not Dynamite, just the collisions and Death Before Dishonor.
I'm gonna be so sad if those shows are empty, because if I had the PTO, if I had the money, if I had the energy to be in Texas in the summertime, I would go. However,
it's gonna take a lot of energy.
For somebody else who's closer, please go and cheer for me. But those flights are not cheap. But what would you grade this show?
I give it a C+.
Okay.
The second half of this show is really good. The triple threat, the 2 tag team matches, those are all really good.
Mm-hmm.
However, everything before it is a steaming pile of doo-doo. Like,
I agree.
Fine, but it's like everything else on this show is a D, and the really good stuff is like a B+. So I think when I average it all out, I think a C+ is fair, because the good stuff is really good, and the bad stuff wasn't offensive. It just wasn't worth our time.
I mean, considering the last episode, I wouldn't have graded it. I probably would have said D. This was a monumental step up, but it was on a slope. Oh, maybe go this way. Yeah. Slope, right? Started off rough, and then we're going up. So we have some momentum going into 7 weeks. But like TK fashion, he's going to book things last minute, even though he claims he does not.
I swear, I think Ring of Honor is the show he forgets he has to book, and then books it at the last minute.
He should have just hired Maria. That's all I am going to say.
He's got Jimmy Jacobs right there. No offense to Maria, but Maria needs to be at home with the kids, because, like Mike said, whenever they ask for time off, they get it. So if Maria's home too much that she can't book the shows, you've got Jimmy Jacobs, the zombie princess, right there, who's at probably all these shows.
I'm going to blow my load for that.
Oh, we have the stats. Kyle K. Sparks jumping in with the stats for us. Thank you, Kyle. Total episode time, 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 23 seconds. Total match time, 36 minutes and 26 seconds. For 55.7% of the show, with an average match time of an abysmal 4 minutes and 33 seconds.
We're getting worse and worse, but all right. Well, next week, our statistician, Kyle K. Sparks, will be back. But Ed, thank you so much.
No, thank you. And by the way, make sure that you follow Kyle K. Sparks on X. On X mostly. He has the Instagram and the TikTok. He doesn't much use them. I know I hear that every week. So follow him on the X or the Twitter at Kyle K. Sparks over there. Follow his work from there. You can follow his work to Body Slam Stuff, where he posts the results of all the Ring of Honor shows over there, where he has all his writings, including all the things he's written about before in the past. He has some great stuff on there, so definitely go ahead and catch him on that. You can also catch me every Tuesday night on Taking Over with the Natural Ash Mazzaro, as we go ahead and talk all things NXT every Tuesday night. Every other Wednesday for the foreseeable future, you can catch me and my tag team partner, Andre C., as we talk all things Marvel. And when there's nothing going on for Marvel, we're going to be continuing our MCU Rebound series.
Ooh.
So next week, we just did an episode yesterday. So that was Thor 2, The Dark World, recovered. We reviewed that. It was a train wreck and abysmal. Almost, it was even worse than this Ring of Honor episode. However, you can definitely go ahead and watch us in 2 weeks when we have the lovely Lauren Goodnight joining us as we go ahead and talk all things Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
It's my favorite. That's my favorite.
It seems to be a consensus with most people that it's up there in the top 3, top 5.
It's so between that and Black Panther. It is going to be.
We struggled to get an hour last night. We are not going to struggle, and we're probably going to have to really struggle to keep it under Honor Ramble lengths in 2 weeks when we go ahead and talk all things Captain America the Winter Soldier. Also, a special episode this Monday night. You can go ahead and catch me, Ash Bizarro, Jose Gonzalez of Jose on the Air, as we're going to go ahead and fantasy book Worlds Collide, TNA versus WWE. We're going to do 10-match cards where we fantasy book what we think WWE and TNA could get up to if they fantasy booked a pay-per-view called Worlds Collide, which is already WWE-themed pay-per-view, so they don't have to do any work to get to it. And it could be a whole lot of fun. That'll be Wednesday, and we even might have a special guest for that show, so definitely go ahead and check that out this Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Right during Raw. You can go ahead and watch us with Raw on the side, because we're going to be more entertaining than Raw anyway, so it'll be fine.
I'll be tuning in for that because that's exciting. Well, you can find me on all social media _queer auntie, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, probably the other ones, but I don't frequent those as much. Follow me or else. Because it's always a fun time. And I always have links in bio of where I'm at. If it's a Thursday, I'm here. If it's a Sunday morning, I'm over on Fightful Overbooked with my co-host Kylie, where we talk about how wrestling makes us cry, because that seems to be a theme where I'm crying. I
am curious. What made you cry this week on Ring of Honor? You mentioned something on the show made you cry.
I told you.
We never talked about it. What was it that made you cry?
Okay, so the Bollywood Boyz.
Oh, okay. So it's obviously not here, but what is it like here? Is it like it's some sniffles?
Yeah, no, I mean, you saw my makeup. It was runny. It was just, I had a long day. I've had a long day. It was so nice because the show was really stressful to watch, because I'm watching the first part of the show and I'm going, what the hell are we going to talk about? How can I get myself out of this? Because this show was started so bad. But the moment that we got to halfway through the show, I started to get really emotional. I was already angry with the dogs. I hadn't eaten dinner, and I just started crying because seeing how the Bollywood Boyz are so over and they're so passionate, and I just want to see them do great things, it made me cry. So that's usually what makes me cry. You can also, by the way, find me Friday nights on Twitch or YouTube or on Twitter, just streaming, doing some cozy streams. I've been also streaming on Sunday evenings, doing some cozy streams.
The Sims streams are great. Go ahead and watch the cozy streams where she plays The Sims or she grades out the predictions. She does things. I'm in there every now and then when I got
yeah, and
your streams, your late night cozy streams for you are very late for me. So sometimes it's hard for me to get in there on some of these streams.
Well, sometimes I'm like, I'm not ready to go to bed yet. Let's jump on and see who's around. And surprisingly, a lot of people can't sleep. So, but we are on our local establishment. Go follow us, go subscribe, share this with others. Go follow us on all the other social medias. Why? Because I told you so, or else. You know why? Because we're the best place. This is where all the cool people are. and you want to hear what we have to say because you're here listening to this right now. So you might as well go share it with a couple friends. OLE or else. That's right. That's right.
And
Put
please,
it
if
on.
you could, like I said, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel in particular, we are pushing the YouTube channel because we're right beyond the goal. We just need a little bit of help getting over that goal. And when we get that goal, things can vastly improve for some of us over here. You know, try to make the product a little bit better, to try to do some things and give you guys some opportunities. We are currently at 441. We're up from, I think it was like 410 this morning. So we've had a great day today. But hopefully we can keep that momentum moving so we can get to that 500 mark. But thank you all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're wonderful. You've been awesome. We've been your hosts, Ed, Auntie Collins. Happy wrestling, y'all.